I come from originally born in New Orleans, and my backstory is I lost my mom at 7 years old. When I lost my mom, my situation in life got a little bit more difficult. So I grew up in a neighborhood where it was extreme poverty. I witnessed my first murder at 14 years old. Used to be ashamed of my story, like a lot of people from impoverished neighborhoods. We're very ashamed to share, some of the trials and tribulations that we had. So as a kid, I did not have adequate air conditioning, access to like food on a normal basis. It's the struggle of every day of living in the quote unquote hood. Flush my toilet with a bucket. So I'm very, very humble. We have been in existence since 2016. Next year we'll be going into our 5th year. The services that we provide are mental health care for the kids, expanding on their knowledge of learning about secondary education. In the African American community, one of the things that we lack are resources, right? So what we try to do is make sure that these kids are getting the experiences in life that will change the trajectory of where they're headed. A lot of the kids, they get a chance to see what it looks like in just their neighborhood alone. What we're trying to do is make sure that the kids get a chance to see what life looks like outside of their neighborhood. The reason why I do this and why I give back so much is because I understand where these kids are coming from. They're coming from a place of hurt. They're coming from a place where it's not readily available to them to understand what trauma is. I'm just older now, so I understand what trauma is. But when I was coming up and then I had no clue and there was no one to lead or guide me, this is the reason why I give back. And this is the reason why I'm going to continue to give back and partner with other people to help people that are like-minded and also the kids that are like me, because in each of these kids that I serve, I see myself. When you're starting anything, you only come in from it from a place of mind and heart, and you don't know if my story is like your story. Will you feel where I'm coming from? So that was one of the challenges starting this organization. And when once I got off of the ground and then gave the information out to the community, said this is what's going to be going on and the type of services that we're going to be providing, immediately I started getting phone calls and started getting emails saying, hey, I want to get my son involved in this. And right then and there, I knew that I had something, right? So we started working on a game plan on how we're going to make this thing look, how we're going to make this thing work throughout this time. And it continued to grow, and we were able to grab more and more kids, and the parents are just buying into the organization because they're actually seeing the changes in their children. We used the money that we were making on these shows to take the kids on these college tours where we're introducing them into secondary education. And introducing them into the secondary education, it helps them learn a little bit more about life outside of New Orleans. We're introducing these kids to this at a very early age. At 10 years old, these kids are walking the campuses of prominent universities like LSU, Alabama, Nicholls State University, the University of Houston, Dillard University. We've been all over with these kids, and they're as young as 10 years old. And it's giving them the opportunity, and it's giving them light where they're not looking at life through this small prism anymore. They're like, okay, I can do this. It's hard, but it's easy. One of the things that we have to do as mentors or as just adults, we have to stop overcomplicating things, simplify it, right? In order to break these generational curses, you have to expose the kids to what you have never been exposed to. And that means us as parents, and that means them as kids. Exposure. Let me tell you how simple it is. One of the things that I find amazing about being a mentor and how this program has impacted me just as an adult, I haven't been to Alabama either. I hadn't been to LSU. I hadn't been to the University of Houston. I had not been exposed to these things. And at my age, you would think that I would be so well versed and that I've had already experienced these places. I hadn't either. So what I started doing is just exposing them to those things. It helps them grow. A wise man said, if you find what you like to do, and get paid for it, you'll never work a day in your life. And that's what we're trying to make sure that these kids understand. Don't go to school just to go to school. Figure out what it is that you want to do. I mean, literally want to do it, like you'll do it for free, and then monetize it. It's simple. That's the piece. That's the piece that we're looking for, is the growth. The growth. And the growth comes in by just exposure. Don't overcomplicate it. A simple thing. So now that we've been in existence now for 4 going on 5 years, we get to see the living testaments now of the work that has been put out by the organization, and the hard work of not just myself, man, but of these kids, of the buy-in, right? So I'm not going to take responsibility for some of the things that we see. It's just the particular buy-in of these kids, and all of the credit goes to them for taking and moving forward with the change and being what they want to see in their community. So now we're getting a chance to see these kids graduate out, and they're actually heading into secondary education. We are trying to become recognized on a national stage, and we're well on our way. The long-term goal is to have it recognized and have tours globally that understand the mission, the culture, and the reason why we do this. I know that it is something special, and to see the buy-in that we're getting globally from the people that are reaching out globally, that is just is shocking to me, but it's affirmation that we really onto something with this organization. Our long-term goal is to have this organization be a global situation where we're changing the lives of so many people, and it will just become a snowball effect, and the world becomes a better place.
Check the description for links and more information from this episode. If you like what you're seeing and want to get involved, help us spread the word by subscribing to our channel and liking and sharing this video. Visit our website for more information.